and mighty, you best beware. We're goblins, space goblins. We're goblins, space.
D6, 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 the Westendgames D6 Star Wars system, but generic, yeah. What's up, nerdsicles? It's your boy, the OGGM, coming to you live at a little 1:30 in the afternoon here at Site B in the lovely non-existent town of Fresno, Nevada, where the weather cannot make up its mind. It's about 67 degrees. I have felt like crap all day, which is why we're getting this now. So we're looking at the Westendgames D6 system, most notoriously the Westendgames D6 Star Wars system, but we're looking at it the only way you can really get it now reasonably priced, which is the open source version of the D6 system. Not that you can't find a copy of the D6 Star Wars system out there somewhere, probably, but this one's free, and this is the one I have. So, but yeah, if you're familiar with the Westendgames D6 system, Star Wars, Ghostbusters, Hercules and Xena, MIB, a whole bunch of others. Yeah, it's a great system where you get to roll lots of six-siders. The system's a little wonky. You kind of have to come at it sideways, but once you get the handle of how the system works, it's pretty easy. I think the biggest thing people have trouble with is there's no such thing as hit points, or armor class, which coming into this system from D20 was kind of hard for me the first time I tried it. But once, Matt Broman explained it to me, I got it. I love it. And there's just something satisfying about rolling, 10 D6 and counting up your successes. So remember, this is not a review. We're just going to we're walking into the game store. We see it sitting on the shelves, and we're going to take a look through it and see if it sells. So if you are interested in getting these, they are free, and you can get them at the Open D6 site. That was put up by Eric when he lost the rights. So here you have D6 Adventure, modern day, D6 Fantasy, Hercules and Xena, D6 Space, Star Wars, D6 Core Rules, something called Septimus, D6 Blood Shadows, D6 Superheroes, and D6 Tales of Ostroma, and some links to some other ones. Cinema 6, D6 Magazine, Mini 6, Open D6 Fantasy SRD, Open D6 Restoration. So there's some other things, and you can find copies of Star Wars out there, usually reasonable price. So yeah, there you go. And the link to this site is down below. It is open source, which means you can use it if you want. And it's free. So here's the core rules. These were made in, it doesn't say, there's no date on here, but I'm going to say a while back. And let's go to the 82 pages. 82 pages for a complete game. See, guys, it can be done. Here's the OGL for their system. Here's the character record sheet. There are no stats, really. There's meta skills, and then the skills that go under the meta skills. So like coordination, endurance, reflexes, strength, knowledge, perception, mechanical, force if you're using Star Wars or magic or whatever. You have a certain amount of dice that you can spend to get all your main ones. So like coordination, I think it's 7. Yeah, 7 starting skill dice, 70. And then you have another chunk of dice that you can spread amongst the lesser skills. So like bullfighting, blind fighting. But bullfighting sounds fun too. So you can see under reflexes, you've got acrobatics, balance, bullfighting. Yes, I know it says blind fighting, but I think bullfighting is more interesting. So we're keeping it. Dodge, insert melee weapon of choice, lightsaber. Scaling, which I guess is wall crawl. I don't know why they wanted to call it scaling. It's not like wall crawling is copyright. Scaling just sounds wrong. Is that what lizards do when they're about to shed? Yeah, that's not the best word for wall crawling. Just call it wall crawling. And sneak. All right, so let's say, you know, I got a certain amount of pips and I'm going to divide them amongst my main ones. And I want to focus on, say, I don't know, reflex bullfighting, because I'm making, you know, Brock Brockerson space bullfighter, right? Space bullfighting is a big thing. You guys don't know. It's a huge, huge market for space bullfighting. So our boy, Brock Brockerson, aka Steve, is going to be a bullfighter. So we want to put some points. So we're going to put like 2 dice in reflexes or 3 dice in reflexes out of our 7. So we're pretty squirrely. And then we're going to take our little lesser dice and divide them up amongst here and see which ones we want to focus on. So like acrobatics, I might put +1. Bullfighting, I'm definitely going to put like 2 or 3. Melee weapons, I'm going to put like 1. You can, I think if I remember correctly, you can't put more dice in a skill than there is in the stat. But you can do something like D6 +1, D6 +2. So you could have like 2d6 in reflexes and 1d6 +1 in bullfighting. So when I'm doing a bullfighting skill test, I would roll the 2d6 +1d6 +1. And then total it all up. And then I think it's a certain amount of successes, you know, versus difficulty. Yeah. I think I'm remembering it correctly, or close enough, but we'll take a look. Yeah, it's a weird system. You kind of have to come at it sideways, because it's one of those. It's much like Savage Worlds and a lot of other systems out there. When you read it, you're like, this doesn't work. This doesn't make sense. I remember trying to run Star Wars and reading it and going, this doesn't make sense. It's counterintuitive to the way our brains think. But then when you play it, you're like, oh, I get it. Okay, you know. Some people get this game right off. Other people have to have it to explain to you because of my dyslexia and whatever. I didn't get it at first, but once it was explained to me, once I started playing it, it's pretty simple. Just D6s, lots of D6s versus a difficulty modifier. So here are the generic rules. Obviously, this is a black and white scan, it looks like. So this is not the best job somebody's done. But hey, they're free. So I'm not going to complain too much. It's an entire game in 80 pages. Okay, we don't need to see that. So yeah, you got a dinosaur. Got a spaceship. What are you guys running? Star Wars? No, we're playing Spaceship. Yeah, Space Wars. Spaceship Wars. Brock Brockerson with his energy sword, using his powers of the flow. Superpowers, yep. Psychic powers. Magic powers. So he gets just sort of a general overview, but we want to look at how to make a character. Urban geography. Streetwise. Feels like you went out of your way to make this more difficult so you could use big words. Theurgy. That's, you couldn't just call it arcane and occult like every other system. I want to be original. No, your originality just actually is counterintuitive. I have never in my life met somebody who was talking about spell systems referred to it as theurgy, or whatever this word is. No one has ever used that word in my 59 years of life. I have never used that word in a conversation, nor have I ever used urban geography in a conversation. I've used streetwise and scaling. Scaling just sounds wrong. If I didn't already love the system, these would be turnoffs for the systems, because it's like you're using unnecessary words. Secret Society, another one. These are unnecessary words. Just to, I don't know, sound cool and sound different. You don't have to use big words. Heraldry. I mean, yeah, that's an actual thing, but I mean, how often does heraldry come up in a conversation? Diagnose malady. That could just been diagnose. So these are the skills. And, you know, critical hits, critical failures. When you make a skill check versus stat check. So my reflex is my stat. My bullfighting is my skill. Here's some suggested ones. Brock Brockerson, Space Bullfighter. Kind of want to play this character now. We've got professions. We've got, it looks like we have an advantage, disadvantage system. Quick draw? How's quick draw a disadvantage? Oh, I guess these are some of the, yeah, this is, you got both the advantages and the disadvantages hidden in the same table. That's not very, yeah. That's not well thought out. All right, core attributes. Core attributes. Explain the core attributes. Naked space guy. What you can do with those core attributes. Some additional attributes if you want to add them. Okay, yeah. Yep. Okay. How many? How does this work? Does this work the way I think it works? Also, there's a wild dice in this system, which I think allows the dice to explode. Advantage and disadvantage, adventuring, quirks, role-playing notes, force points or fate points or hero points, whatever you want to call them, character points. That's the version of experience in this game. Skills. All right, so... And then here's an example. So I've got like Space Guy. He's got 4 dice in strength and 4 dice plus 2 in resist damage. 7 total skill dice. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's not okay. That doesn't seem right. Yeah. A starting character. So usually about 3 dice per attribute. So starting character would have a total of about 18 dice, more or less, depending upon the power level. Then you divide those 18 dice amongst these. So 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right. So here's his 18 dice. Then we have the +1, +2, +3, where you can break up some of the dice, you know. So if you wanted like a 3D +2 by taking one of the dice off of someplace else and splitting it up a little. So why would you do that? To maybe jigger the greater chance of getting a success, because D6 and D6 +1, that +1 jiggers the possibility of getting closer to a success than just rolling a D6. So again, it's face up. You're like, that seems overly complicated and kind of dumb and counterintuitive, but then you look at it, you know, sideways, and then you're like, oh yeah. I mean, there's a reason why this system has a fan base, and that fan base is very passionate about that fan base. But there's also a reason why this system didn't do as well as it could have, considering they had frickin' Star Wars, Ghostbusters, Hercules and Xena, Men in Black, Zorro, and yet they still somehow lost it. I mean, I can understand losing Star Wars. It was probably pretty expensive to maintain the Star Wars copyright, but still. Yeah. Part of it is that the system is sort of weird. But all, you know, dice pool D6 systems are kind of weird at first glance. It's just only when you play through them and put some clothes on, young lady. And then you see that he has the skill dice, and then he can put as many skill dice in, but the skill dice can never exceed the thingy. If the character has a coordination of 2s, yeah. So you have the stat dice, and then you could have the skill dice. So if I have a 2, here's the example, is if I have a coordination of 2D +1, and I spent 1D on my blaster, I would, being a total blaster dice go of 3D +1, 2D plus 1 plus 1D equals 3D plus 1. And if I remember correctly, the number of dice in the scale can't exceed the number of dice in the stats. And when you get hit, damage comes off of your stats, strength first. And armor doesn't, armor absorbs strength damage. So, yeah. Now, so yeah, first glance, you know, would I buy this system? Knowing what I know about it, obviously I would, because I love the system. But you know, if let's being honest, if I saw this on the shelves and I flipped through it, it doesn't really sell. It's definitely the system that unfortunately is dependent on the word of mouth that it has and the fact that it's Star Wars and the other games, but Star Wars. And people will say this is the best take on Star Wars. There's a few who say the D20 Star Wars was really, really good. But I think pound for pound, everybody agrees that the D6 Westendgames Star Wars was probably the best Star Wars. And then, of course, there's the whole connection between D6 Westendgames Star Wars and Star Wars Expanded Universe. And a lot of stuff that was in the D6 Star Wars role-playing game is stuff that came from the Expanded Universe. And there's a lot of stuff in the Expanded Universe that came from the game. They kind of fed off each other and helped each other grow. And part of the reason, you know, it crashed, other than I'm sure it was very expensive, is because, you know, when they decided that the Expanded Universe wasn't canon anymore, and then, you know, Disney got involved, and it probably became too expensive. You know, Lord knows how the people who have it now are able to maintain their hold on the franchise IP. You know, D20 had it for like a day. They had the D20 or Saga System Star Wars or whatever it was called. And then, of course, the current modern version of Star Wars. But for most of us, it's the Westendgames Star Wars. That felt the most Star Warsy, especially the chapter where they're talking about different skills and how high a player can have a different skills. And then specifically, they're talking about Force skills because, you know, it's Star Wars. Everybody wants to be a Jedi. And they're like, oh, blah, 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 lightsaber. Darth Vader will have 15 D6 in a lightsaber, but you never will. So, yeah, the selling point was the IPs. That's what drew your eye. I want to play Hercules and Xena. I want to play Star Wars. A lot of people said the Hercules and Xena system was amazing. I never got a chance to play it, but they were like, this is better than D&D at the time, which, you know. But on its own, I mean, yeah, the core rules are kind of meh. Let's look at fantasy, shall we? Because, you know, that's the default. So here's the generic fantasy rules. Already it's laid out better. Art's better. Yeah, this isn't supposed to be anybody. Totally generic fantasy character. Example character. Step by step. Choose your own adventure. How to build the character. Yeah, already this is laid out much better than the core rules. But if you're looking for a starter point for the system, the core rules, and then you could just pick and choose which worlds you want if this is a D6 system you want to play with. Desert Island, you're probably going to have a better chance of finding something with 6 sides on a desert island than you're going to find something with 20 siders. You know, you definitely have a better chance of finding D6 in the wild. Everybody's got a D6 in their house somewhere. D6s are usually the only dice you ever see in other places besides game stores, you know, because whenever you go in any liquor store or gas station anywhere, there's always that one random pack of 6-siders next to the smoking material and the car tools. And you're like, why? Oh, I guess for gambling games or emergency D&D. I'm not sure why 7-Eleven has a D6-sider, but I'm not going to question it because I'm in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, so first impressions, the fantasy, I would have started with the fantasy rules and been like, yeah, okay, the art sells for black and white. The system is the system. The biggest detriment to the system is the way it reads. The biggest strength of the system is the way it works. And there's just something tactically satisfying as rolling 10d6 and building up those successes. It's just, yeah. But does D6 Star Wars stand the test of time in 2025 compared to the other systems out there? I don't know, because I haven't seen anybody played it in a long time. I haven't gotten a chance to play it in a long time. I would say, yeah, I would say it stands up to other systems out there, other D6 dice pool systems. If we got in a fight between my favorite D20 system and this system, well, I mean, it's Star Wars. Star Wars wins. Sorry. So there you go. There's an overview of the generic D6 system, the Westendgames D6 Star Wars. If you're a fan of Star Wars, expanded universe, dice pool systems, kind of wonky system. I mean, it's definitely, it's got its benefits and it's got its disadvantages. Like I said more than once, it's a system you got to come on sideways. It's kind of like Savage Worlds in the way it works. But once you get it, you're like, oh yeah, this system's great. I love it. And no other system that I've played does Star Wars as well as this system does Star Wars. So it's got that going for it. If you appreciate me doing this and want to hear me do these more, let me know. If you never want to watch me do these videos ever again, let me know. Remember, this is your channel, 2026, your year. You tell me where you want the channel to go, because you're the ones who help keep this channel alive. And speaking of keeping this channel alive, I don't know why my voice is going all this. I'm going into Christopher Walken here. I don't know, they let me kind of just do whatever I want. Consider supporting the OGGM using the links down below. You can support me by using my drive-thru affiliate link and getting games like D6 Star Wars from drive-thru. And that way you help me out a little. Or you could purchase my games and help me out a lot. So with the holidays coming up, if you're feeling generous, maybe consider, tossing your favorite Jedi a coin. I mean, when I say favorite Jedi, of course, I mean Steve the cat. I'm not a Jedi. I'm one of those little bonk-joys. Bonk. Oh, yeah. Anyways, till next time, I'm the OGGM. Thanks for sticking with me, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. See ya.
Through the stars, we're small and green. Don't need a cloak to go unseen. We mine the rocks, space gnomes don't dare. Small but mighty, you best beware.